General Hospital spoilers reveals that one of the major new developments is the intense anger that Molly feels when she discovers that Kristina caused Rick's accident. When Molly learns the truth, that Kristina intentionally cut Rick's car brake lines, an action that nearly took his life and Elizabeth's, she cannot help but feel deeply betrayed and heartbroken. It's not just about the anger over Kristina's criminal actions, but also the sense of being deceived and manipulated, as Kristina pretended to be a supportive sister while hiding her guilt. But this new shift is making things escalate further, as Molly is now ready to take on a prosecutorial role and ensure that Kristina faces a severe sentence. As a sister and a family member, Molly has decided not to settle for just verbal or emotional punishment but to make Kristina face the legal consequences of her actions. She believes that Kristina must be held accountable not only morally but legally as well. Molly begins to work closely with the police and judicial authorities to make sure that all the evidence of Kristina's wrongdoing is collected and presented in court. This includes reviewing the security footage from the accident scene, testimonies from Rick and Elizabeth, and even analyzing the psychological motives behind Kristina's actions. Molly also reaches out to lawyers and legal experts to seek advice on how to bring the case to trial and ensure that Kristina will face the harshest possible consequences. As she exercises her prosecutorial powers, Molly shows a steadfast determination and confidence in ensuring justice is served. This is no easy task, as Molly is also under pressure from her family, especially from Alexis, who still hopes to protect Kristina from the repercussions of her actions. Alexis, as both a lawyer and Kristina's mother, has tried every way possible to lessen Kristina's guilt, from proposing mental health defenses to urging Molly to consider family feelings. However, Molly remains firm in her position, believing that this is the only way Kristina can learn her lesson and not repeat such mistakes in the future. She also recognizes that letting Kristina off the hook easily could tarnish the credibility of the justice system and undermine public trust in justice. This new shift is pushing things further as Molly, who is typically known for her compassion and belief in helping others, becomes resolute and firm in her pursuit of justice for Rick and Elizabeth. She is prepared to face any negative reactions that may come from this, including anger from Sunny and Carly and the distress of Alexis and others in the Corinthos family. As the storyline develops, fans are witnessing a side of Molly they have never seen before. A determined and relentless woman in pursuit of justice, even if it means going up against her loved ones. This battle will not only test Molly's limits but will also make Port Charles reevaluate the meaning of justice and personal responsibility. The relationship between Molly and Kristina will face inevitable challenges. As Molly takes steps to bring the case to court, Kristina will have to confront the full consequences of her actions, while also facing the reality of being estranged from those she loves the most. This will not only hurt Kristina but will also raise questions about the future of their sisterly bond, whether they can overcome these wounds and reconcile or if this will be an insurmountable barrier in both of their lives. As Molly chooses between family love and justice, fans will have to wait and see the outcome of this confrontation. The plan to help Kristina avoid punishment was stopped when Molly decided to continue pursuing justice without hesitation. This bold and determined move shows that Molly is not only standing for justice but is also ready to confront her loved ones and her family if necessary. One of the new tensions is that Molly is now blocking Sunny and Alexis's efforts to protect Kristina from the legal consequences of her actions. As the sister and key witness in the case, Molly has become a formidable adversary in this battle. She has used all available resources to ensure justice is served, from collecting evidence to working with the police and legal authorities. Molly's determination comes not only from a sense of betrayal but also from the belief that Kristina needs to learn from her mistakes. One of the new pressures that is escalating tensions is the growing conflict between Molly and Rick. Rick, who was seriously injured in the accident, is becoming one of the key witnesses for the upcoming trial. His determination to make sure Kristina takes responsibility for her actions has led Rick to work closely with Molly, creating a strong and undeniable alliance. As this legal battle escalates, Molly and Rick begin collecting all possible evidence against Kristina. They've uncovered inconsistencies in Kristina's testimony, sought physical evidence, and even connected with people who may have witnessed the incident. With Ava's involvement, who hid the car to protect the evidence, Molly and Rick now have a strong case to present in court. The tension reaches its peak when Molly and Rick decide to hold a press conference to strongly announce their stance. They have committed to not stopping until Christina faces the appropriate punishment for the reckless actions that endangered Rick and Elizabeth's lives. Molly's unshakable determination has sparked anger from Sunny and Alexis, who believe she is pushing Christina into an unfair situation. Sunny, with all his power and influence, has tried to pressure Molly to side with the family, but Molly's resolve cannot be shaken. She has defended her right as a family member and key witness, committed to ensuring justice is served no matter what happens. Alexis, meanwhile, still hopes to protect her daughter from the consequences of her actions. As a lawyer and mother, she has tried every means to mitigate Christina's guilt, from offering mental health defenses to advising Molly to consider family feelings. However, Molly remains firm in her stance, believing that this is the only way Christina can learn from her mistakes. Meanwhile, Rick has become one of Molly's biggest supporters in her campaign. He has used his legal experience to advise and assist Molly, helping her build a convincing case that will persuade the court of Christina's guilt. As this confrontation continues, both Molly and Rick know they are risking not only personally but also legally. But they also believe this is the only path to ensure that justice is carried out and Christina learns her lesson. As the new conflict between Molly, Rick, and Sunny's faction, Alexis continues to escalate, Port Charles is witnessing one of its most dramatic confrontations in its history. The combination of legal power, personal influence, and Molly and Rick's unyielding determination is pushing tensions higher than ever. And as the storyline continues to unfold, fans are left wondering who will win in this battle and whether Christina will be able to escape the legal consequences of her actions. Molly and Christina's relationship will face inevitable challenges. As Molly moves forward with taking the case to court, Christina will have to face the full consequences of her actions, while also dealing with being estranged from those she loves most. This will not only hurt Christina but will raise questions about the future of their sisterly bond. Will they overcome these wounds and reconcile, or will this be an insurmountable barrier in both their lives? As Molly chooses between family love and justice, fans will have to wait and see how this confrontation will unfold. In this context, Elizabeth and Lucky are also beginning to feel the tension of the situation. Lucky, while still trying to support Molly, also feels sorrow over the shift in the relationship between the two sisters. Elizabeth, on the other hand, is worried about Rick and the consequences he may face if the matter is not resolved fairly. As they stand by Molly and Rick, they also face opposition from Sunny and Alexis, who are tirelessly working to defend Christina. Ultimately, this legal battle will not only determine Christina's fate but will also impact many relationships and lives in Port Charles. With every new development, fans are left wondering who will emerge victorious and whether justice will truly be served. Molly will send Christina to prison, a harsh decision she feels is necessary to ensure justice is served. However, alongside her pursuit of justice for Rick and Elizabeth, Molly is also considering leaving the Davis family. She feels that her family has become too complicated and fraught with issues, and leaving may be the way for her to find peace and stability in her life. The new storyline about one of the recent suppressed events is showing the damage Alexis is facing, and this is proving to be one of the new changes unfolding. Alexis, as both a mother and a lawyer, has tried her best to protect Christina from the legal consequences of her actions. However, when Molly decides to continue pursuing the case, Alexis begins to feel intense pressure from all sides. From her colleagues questioning the ethics of using the law to protect her daughter to Molly and Rick's determination to ensure Christina faces appropriate punishment, everything is causing significant damage to Alexis. This is proving to be a new shift as the Davis family begins to fracture from within. Molly's determination to prosecute Christina is not just about ensuring justice is done, but also a way for her to express her dissatisfaction with Christina's actions. She feels that Christina has crossed a line and must be held accountable for her actions, a viewpoint shared not only by Molly but also by many others in the family. As Molly considers leaving the Davis family, she faces a difficult decision. On one hand, she feels that leaving might help her avoid the continuous turmoil and stress from her family. On the other hand, she worries about leaving Christina, someone she still deeply loves despite her mistakes. When Alexis learns of Molly's possible decision to leave, she begins to feel hurt and anxious. She doesn't want to lose another child after all the turmoil with Christina. However, she understands that Molly needs time to think and decide what's best for her life. In this context, Molly begins to reassess her life within the Davis family. She recalls the tough times she had with Christina, from the loss of trust after the miscarriage to dealing with Christina's reckless behavior. Molly feels that she's done everything she can to support Christina, but it seems like that support is no longer needed. Molly also realizes that her determination to pursue justice isn't just about Rick and Elizabeth, but also about how the Davis family needs to change. She wants to make sure everyone in the family understands that their actions have consequences, and that protecting Christina isn't the way to solve problems. As the story progresses, fans are witnessing the Davis family being stretched to its limits. The conflict between Molly and Christina has become one of the most serious issues the family faces, and the outcome could radically alter their relationships. With each new step, both Molly and Alexis must prepare themselves for the inevitable changes in their lives. When Molly leaves, she will not only be leaving the Davis family but also leaving a void in the hearts of many. Meanwhile, Christina will have to face the full consequences of her actions, and Alexis will need to figure out how to heal the wounds within the family. Their lives will never be the same again, as each person faces new challenges and tough decisions. In the end, Molly will have to weigh the love of her family against her personal needs. She will have to decide whether leaving is a necessary step to protect herself and find peace, or if she can reconcile and heal her relationship with Christina without having to leave. But one thing is certain, the Davis family's life is on the verge of a significant change, and no one can be sure what the future will hold. Christina's imprisonment storyline is truly making things spiral into one of the most chaotic events yet. One of the new changes happening is that Christina is being consumed by remorse. As she faces the consequences of her actions, cutting Rick's car's brake lines, nearly causing severe harm to him and Elizabeth, Christina begins to realize that her reckless behavior has not only affected her but also her loved ones. This regret has become an undeniable burden for Christina. She starts to realize that she has crossed a line, and her actions cannot be forgiven so easily. While Molly is determined to bring the case to court, Christina must face the fact that she will pay for what happened. This not only impacts Christina but also causes a rift in the Davis family, as Alexis tries to protect her daughter while Molly and Rick are determined to see justice done. And if the storyline about Ava's obsession comes to fruition, Ava is now facing retaliation, which is sparking a bloody explosion in the plot. Ava, who once exploited the situation to blackmail Alexis and pressure Christina, is now facing the consequences as Molly and Rick push to bring Christina to justice. Since Ava's blackmail plan was exposed, she has started receiving threats and revenge from many sides, from Christina's supporters to her former enemies. Ava, with all her scheming and plans, has become a new target for retribution. Those she once provoked, including Carly and Sunny, now have the chance to strike back. They not only want Ava to pay for her blackmail but also wish to cause her legal trouble. And with Molly and Rick intensifying their legal battle against Christina, Ava will certainly not escape their attention. As Ava faces retaliation, she begins to realize that she has gone too far. She tries to reach out to Molly and Alexis, hoping they can help her escape this situation, but it seems that every door has been closed. Ava begins to feel isolated and alone, which drives her to become even more determined to protect herself and escape her dangerous predicament. However, during this tense time, Ava also begins to see a new opportunity. She starts plotting a plan to form alliances with her enemies, hoping to create a new coalition that can help her overcome the current crisis. But Ava's moves are still risky, and no one knows for sure whether she will succeed. She has begun contacting some former partners who might help her achieve her goals, but at the cost of losing some of her power and freedom. As the story continues to develop, fans are witnessing a battle not only for justice and revenge but also for the survival of the central characters. Christina, consumed by guilt, will have to face the consequences of her actions while Ava tries to find a way out of her perilous situation. And as everyone prepares for new twists, one thing is certain, their lives will never be the same again. The relationships between the characters will face unavoidable challenges. Molly and Alexis will have to weigh family love against justice, while Sunny and Carly will have to decide if they should use the situation to take revenge on Ava. Meanwhile, As the town waits for the outcome of the legal battle, Ava's longtime enemies are ready to take back what they lost. In the end, the story is heading toward a bloody and dramatic conclusion, where no one is safe, and every step could lead to a significant change. As the legal battle between Molly and Christina reaches its peak, Ava will have to face the consequences of provoking so many enemies. And as everyone prepares for the final showdown, Port Charles will witness one of the greatest events in its history, a game-changing moment that could alter the town and its people forever.